Hey everyone, welcome back to The Rooster After Dark, where we don't just play horror, we dissect it until it screams. Today we're going full deep dive into the Outlast trials. Not just the scares, we're talking super detailed lore, full backstories, personalities, abilities, relationships, and every single character, from the original Prime assets to the absolute newest ones dropped in 2025 to 2026 updates, like the Crest twins and sister Lilia Bogomolova. This is the ultimate character bible for fans, theorists, and anyone wondering why Murkoff is even worse than we thought. We're covering Regents, Dr. Easterman, every Prime asset with their pre-trial crimes and trauma, the entire X-Pop roster, and how it all ties into Project Lathe. If you're new here, hit that like button and subscribe. We're about to spend the next 25-ish to 30-ish minutes in the Signala facility. Let's begin with the big picture. The Outlast trials are set in the late 1950s, early 1960s during the Cold War. The Murkoff Corporation, the same shadowy company behind Mount Massive Asylum in the first Outlast game, runs secret experiments under the guise of national security. Project Lathe was Dr. Hendrik Julia Easterman's brainchild. Create the perfect sleeper agent. Phase 1 failed catastrophically, leaving behind the experimental population, also known as the X-Pops. Too broken to be useful agents, but perfect as obstacles. Regents, you, the player, are desperate people tricked into volunteering via fake charity flyers. They get kidnapped, drilled with night vision goggles into the top of your skull, pumped full of drugs, and thrown into artificial trial environments such as police stations, courthouses, docks, and malls, to be psychologically broken and rebuilt. The goal? Turn you into an untraceable assassin who can be activated later. Fail, and you become X-Pop fodder or worse. Easterman watches everything from afar, narrating your progress like a twisted father. The facility is a living hell of brainwashing, gas, cold snaps, and endless loops of trauma. Now let's meet the cast. The Regents are the main playable characters, fully customizable, average-looking men and women who fell on hard times. Most are homeless, addicts, or hiding shady pasts. They see a flyer for Murkoff's Help for the Broken, apply, and they wake up in the Signala facility. Lore from documents and rebirth endings reveals they're being forged into sleeper agents for the CIA/Murkoff. Strong Regents get desensitized through repeated trauma. They'll assassinate without hesitation. Weak ones break and get left behind or turned into X-Pop. Notable named Regents from files are Henrietta Grubbs, failed and reclassified as a heavy X-Pop/specialist. Doris Ritter, now a contraband dealer in the sleep room. Amelia Kolger, escapee who was recaptured and is currently in the medical recovery wing. Others like Theo Nordiker, Damon Green, and even Sullivan Koth are Regents from the trials. Regents banter in-game with dark humor, calling the Prime assets nicknames like Crazy Bitch for Gooseberry, the Cop for Coil, and show budding insanity. In invasion mode, some volunteer as imposter Regents to hunt others. Their fate? Freedom, or becoming the next generation of monsters. Murkoff promises release after 100 release tokens in Rebirth, but most never make it. The big bad himself, Dr. Hendrik Joliet Easterman. Middle-aged, gaunt, wearing a suit and tie and chain smoking. Raised by an abusive mother who yanked out his hair, and his brother Stanley's suicide sparked his obsession with mind control. Recruited by the CIA in 1953 to study POW turncoats, he joined Murkoff and created Project Lathe. He's the voice you hear in every trial, praising you like a proud dad when you succeed, gaslighting you when you fail. He calls Regents and ex-pops his children, heavy drug users who are obsessed with LSD and the likes of other hallucinogens. His divorced wife, Irene, accused him of total neglect. He's manipulated by Murkoff executives like A. Bradley of Alonzo, who hides the truth about his brother. He collaborates with Rudolph Wernick from the original Outlast. Other staff like Clyde Perry, the recruiter who gets beaten by multiple prime assets. Jun Kasamura, Unit 731 scientist working with the Crest twins. Silas Ninsley, and security guards and scientists are just disposable cogs. Easterman's goal is this: everybody, the willing, the unwilling, grist to be forged into agents of a prosperous, patriotic future. I kind of butchered that. Prime assets are the elite ex-pops. Rare, charismatic, former professionals Murkoff recruited or kidnapped because they're exceptionally dangerous and broken in just the right way. They rule trial environments, emulate twisted versions of their old lives, and lead lesser ex-pops through sheer terrifying charisma. They represent a sick family archetype. Prime assets are the elite ex-pops. Rare, charismatic, and former professionals Murkoff recruited or kidnapped because they're exceptionally dangerous and broken in just the right way. They rule trial environments, emulate twisted versions of their old lives, and lead lesser ex-pops through sheer terrifying charisma. They represent a sick family archetype. Mother Gooseberry, the loving mother. Phyllis Futterman, disgraced 1950s children's TV host from Philadelphia, daughter of abusive dentist Dr. Futterman, worked as his assistant, using puppets to distract children during painful dental work. After her dad's mysterious death, she had a psychotic break. Her show, The Mother Gooseberry Hour, turned sinister. She sold dental drops, which were just narcotics, via mail order. She brainwashed kids into drugs, theft, violence, and worse. Her studio was raided in 1955. Cops found a grotesque murder castle. She ended up escaping into the tunnels, drilling officers in the process. She was arrested for racketeering, kidnapping, and conspiracy to murder. She was sent to Holmesburg prison for horrific dermatological experiments, and Clyde Perry, the recruiter for Murkoff, recruited her for Lathe after she tried to attack him. Sergeant Leland Coyle, the corrupt cop. Born in 1923 in a sundown town called Blackwell, Oklahoma, Leland was used to animal abuse and assault as a kid. He joined a military academy, as well as having involvements in the KKK. Leland was married 3 times, and he murdered all of his wives. During World War II, Leland served in the Marines, and he racked up a suspicious amount of friendly fire kills. He became a cop in 1947 and was corrupt to the core. He was well liked locally despite having many red flags, and he met Clyde Perry in a bar in 1956 and beat him brutally. Perry still recommended him for Project Lathe because of his undeniable charisma. Franco Barbie, the man-child mafia hitman. Son of Louisiana mafia Don Salvatore Barbie, Franco never knew his real mom and was raised by his father's wives. His first murder was at the age of 12. He was a debt collector / hitman for his father's mafia. He murdered sexual partners in a psychosexual rage and had an affair with his stepmom Angelina. His dad found out and beat and exiled him to Cuba. Franco did the CIA dirty work in Cuba, but killed indiscriminately, leading to him being expelled from the CIA, pretty much. He was inspired by watching a regent assassination and went on a killing spree. Clyde Perry tracked him down to a hotel as Franco emerged from a prostitute's corpse, almost killing Perry. Franco was captured and sent to Sinaloa. Otto and Aurora Kress, the conjoined Buffalo Minotaur twins. Born in 1899 in Buffalo, New York, to chemical magnate Anton Kress, the twins' mother died in childbirth after toxic exposure from their father's negligence. They are conjoined twins, Otto being the politician / business genius, and Aurora being the brilliant chemist. They used their family's empire to control New York politics, water regulations, and cover up crimes. They were serial killers from the 1920s to the 1940s, known as the Buffalo Minotaur. They murdered vagrants, prostitutes, and Canadians. The twins have an incestuous relationship, and in 1924, their dad tried to saw them apart, which then led to them sawing him in half and sewing him upside down and torturing him for weeks. The twins were caught by the police burying their victims on the estate. And in 1958, Clyde Perry framed the groundskeeper and recruited them into the chemical R&D part of Murkoff. Aurora learned Japanese to work with Jun Kusamara, but ended up being gassed, unconscious, and inducted as prime assets. Sister Lilia Bogomolova, the Messiah Complex ambush predator. Russian orphan, survivor of the siege of Leningrad, and abused by her mother. She was feral at an orphanage but built a cult following. She was obsessed with the Bible and felt like she was guided by God. Lilia defended Leningrad by hiding under corpses for 3 years. She was then captured by a Nazi officer. He cut off her hand and tongue after she fought back. Lilia prayed, and her tongue miraculously grew back. She convinced guards to mutilate the Nazi officer. Lilia was lost for years in forests, turning corpses into religious statues. Later, wealthy victims vanished, and their mutilated bodies were found. She used hypnotic manipulation and made investigator George Nichols self-mutilate himself. Lilia was sent to Mount Massive Asylum, and she was causing self-harm, budget collapse, and staff suicides. She was then transferred in 1960 by Silas Nisley to Sinaloa as a prime asset. X-Pops are experimental population. Failed early Lathe subjects, many from Mount Massive Asylum or the streets. They are brainwashed, mutilated, drugged. They have deformed bodies, like eyes popping out, tumors, or weaponized limbs. They hunt reagents out of fear, patriotism, or charisma from primes, and they never escape. Grunts. They're the most common of the X-Pop. They're basic hunters, average height and strength. Then there's the big grunts, hulking, limb extrusions, heavy hitters. Some of the specialists include pouncers, they leap and pin. Screamers, they disorient the reagents with screams. Imposters, they disguise themselves as reagents to deceive. Berserkers, their special ability is rage. Night hunters, they are specialists that work in the darkness. Pushers, they shove you into hazards. Pitchers, they throw objects. As well as climbers, tricksters, and scapegoats. Henrietta Grubbs, prime example of a former reagent turned heavy/specialist X-Pop. Some grunts resist prime charisma and even attack them. They serve under prime assets in themed environments, like cops who work under Coil. They lay traps and hazards and ignore other traps that might hurt reagents. Every character is a product of Murkoff's Cold War machine. Broken people turned into weapons or obstacles. Prime assets are the charismatic monsters who once had the power in society. X-Pops are the forgotten fodder, and reagents are you, trying to survive long enough to maybe earn freedom, or become the next monster. The newest additions, the Crest Twins and Lilia, show Murkoff's experiments evolving, conjoined chemical heirs, and a biblical predator. It keeps the horror fresh in 2026. What's your favorite Prime Assets backstory? Drop it in the comments. Will Prescott Whitehorn ever return? Or more new X-Pops in Season 7? If you want a part 2 on specific trials, MK challenges, or rebirth endings, let me know. Smash like if this helped you survive your next trial. Thank you for watching.